Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my fellow Geminis. This is your July 2025 reading. This is going to be for Gemini Sun, my fellow Gemini Moons, Gemini Rising, those intuitively guided. Thank you for paying attention to your intuition, your spirit guides kind of nudging you here. And the great thing about our intuition, the more that we pay attention to it, um, the more, what do I want to say? Like, the more I trust the signs, the easier it becomes to trust the signs, if that makes sense. Like, I notice signs all the time in our readings. Sometimes things that you may not notice, but I am always paying attention to the signs, especially because I ask our spirit guides to come into our reading to give us the clearest reading possible. So, Gemini, real quick, before we get into your reading, there's some things that I wrote down. Now, I know Venus is going into your sign on the 5th, and Venus is going to really enhance your charm. Charming. So I wanted to write a couple things down. So when I pre-shuffle your cards, this is when I just allow myself to go into like a meditative state, so that our guides can speak to me about anything. But I always ask, like, are there any words that I can give, Gemini before I begin their reading? So I had to write some things down. Um, so while Jupiter's going to be blessing you, um, or while Venus is going to enhance your charm, Jupiter's going to be blessing you with really uplifting events and fateful encounters. Fateful encounters. I just want to make sure you got that word. Fateful. Jupiter will be leaving, but it's like its final blessing to you. This moment is ripe for meaningful connection, and ripe is the word I am meant to use. I also want to say collaboration. I feel like this can bring you a lot of success if you're in the market to collaborate. Some would prefer to do something on their own, but this can be a great month to collaborate, and it can bring you a lot of success. That's what I'm really picking up. So, like starting new businesses or any joint venture, I feel like, as long as both are willing to put in the work, I feel like it has a great chance of success. And this may be the month, if you've been putting something off, this may be the month to bring it to the world. And then coupled, oh, well, let's talk about love. So these are the words I got for you for love: fiery, alluring, and you will be hard to ignore. It's like let's say you're going to a party, you walk in the room, all the heads are going to turn and look at you. Now, that can be overwhelming, but not usually for Gemini. Um, but it's just that alluring energy you're going to be carrying. So I think that's going to be fantastic. And if you're in a coupled, if you're coupled, then I feel like working or focusing on harmony versus perfection. It almost sounds like a Virgo there because I am a Virgo sun, and that's something that we have to learn. There is not perfection, right? Nobody's perfect. So harmonious as can be, I feel like will be very good for couples this month. Career. These are the words I got for career: writers, artists, marketers, speakers, using your voice, teachers of the soul. So, teachers, yes, you could be an actual teacher or maybe thinking about becoming a teacher. But what I'm really feeling is like teachers of the soul, so like natural teachers. you may be called into action this month. This is a year where I feel like a lot of people are going to be having spiritual awakenings. I know many have, and it's not like an instant thing, but you're on your way to like this spiritual awakening, which means that you're living within your own truth. You're living within the truth. Um, and you trust that. So, interesting, Gemini. So let's go ahead and get into the tarot portion. So we, of course, give Mother Mary the honor of opening up your reading. We're going to use the crystal vision to clarify and go deeper this month. So I did change the clarifiers up. We're going to use our major arcanas for our bullet points or whatever messages they want to tell us. And then I'm going to use the light seers, which is interesting because I'm doing opposite signs this month, and I just did Sagittarius, your opposite. And I planned on using the same decks for each opposite sign, um, but the light seers was calling. So I'm going to change that role and I'm going to follow my intuition. That's what I'm talking about, like signs that just, you know, we can ignore them. But I feel like they help bring us probably the answers we seek, anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the lid down. I'm going to take a drink real quick. This is a great time just to calm your mind. Do a little bit of deep breathing, like inhale the light and exhale the dark. Inhale the light and exhale the dark. It's a good habit to get into. Um, it's interesting because I think there's times when I'm realizing like I don't think I'm taking any deep breaths. So like concentrating on your breath and it can be very useful, especially in any type of, let's say, anxious situations. Okay, let's start with Mother Mary. And although everything is pre-shuffled, I do like to give them a shuffle with you here. You are the last reading for July, and can I tell you, the last is usually the best. So, and just from the words that I was picking up um, as I was pre-shuffling, I don't know, this seems like it's going to be a good month for you. All right, Mother Mary. Whoa. Okay, holy crap. It's a lot. I'm going to take them. I'm not going to leave them out, but they're all face up. So I feel like Mother Mary wants you to hear them. So let's take them the way they came out. Truth. Well, we already talked about that. You know what I love when something that I felt Spirit was giving me during, the pre-shuffling, and then I started reading and it actually comes out, again, a sign, or to me, it's confirmation. So, truth. I am lovingly honest with myself and others. I am lovingly honest with myself and others. Open your heart. Open your heart is usually your reason. I allow myself to feel the full range of emotions, especially all forms of love. By the way, I am doing a series for each sign and their compatibility with each sign. It's a podcast, and I already did yours, so I will connect it to the on like one of the end screens at the end of the video. Um, and it just broke down you with each sign, so you may want to check that out. It's pretty short. All right, we have present moment. Present moment. You know, it's interesting because I can, first of all, I see what's coming next, which is love. But first, we have truth, right? Being completely open and honest with yourself and others, and then opening your heart, allowing yourself um, to feel what you're going to be feeling. Present moment is kind of like judgment. This is like your spiritual team calling you to the present moment. I am fully present in the here and now. Why is that so important? Because this is where your signs are sent in the present moment. Now, I have to say, um, when I do a tarot reading, though I'm saying it's for July, I do not leave off the table that it's also timeless. And what I mean by that is I do feel, at least at my table, that a reading will find you or you will find it in your divine timing. So right when you're ready to hear it, um, you're more open to it. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Love, love, love. Love is the answer to all of my questions. And last but not least, honesty. Interesting. We have truth and honesty. I am in touch with my true feelings regarding this situation. All right. I have a feeling someone shut their heart down, um, probably due to a previous experience, but it looks like you are definitely being called to try to open up that heart again. It's probably going to be with someone different. We'll see. And when I'm saying that because I feel like I don't want to not give someone an opportunity to love me because of someone of the past who didn't know how to love me. You know what I mean? Like you deserve the highest vibration of love, but you also need to be the highest vibration of love. Again, not perfection. Don't shoot for it. We won't reach it. Okay. So, truth. Open your heart. Need you in the present moment. Why? Love. And then honesty. All right. We'll keep these. I'm going to keep them face up, but it's too much to keep on the table. But I won't forget them. All right. Let's bring in the major arcanas. Give them a cut. It's funny, when I did Sagittarius as your opposite, they got like, oh my gosh, like 10, nah, maybe not that many, but it seemed like a lot. And normally I wouldn't take that many, but they also came face up. Okay, well, look at that. You got quite a few already. All right. We have the Chariot, which is kind of perfect because we're in Cancer's energy. This is Cancer's major arcana. The Chariot really, it represents a few different things. Balance, um, the balance of the feminine, the masculine within ourselves, the light and the shadow. We want to remember that the chariot is driven or moved by our intentions, not by the reins of the horse. The chariot really possesses unlimited potential. And the only limit on it would be what our human mind would put upon it. But other than that, and it's kind of fitting with everything I was getting before your reading. Well, hello, sun. Interesting, Cancer into Leo. But the sun is your illuminator. The sun is playfulness. Um, I feel like, especially as the second card, it makes me feel like this is going to be a good time. All right, let's keep going. The world, the next chapter. When you see the world, that means that something has completed and this next portal is opening up. Actually, the person in this portal is the Fool. So it's representing, a couple different things like putting the past in the past, extracting the wisdom, but leaving the rest behind. The Fool, always willing to take a leap of faith. Maybe it doesn't always pay off, but it's like one of those things of at least I tried. But I don't want to put a negative tone on this because I feel like this sitting next to the sun feels very good. And the chariot, like unlimited potential. The sun is at your back. The sun is illuminating your path, your steps. And then we have, well, hello, judgment. So matching Mother Mary, judgment. It is about truth, but it's also about present moment energy. This means that your spiritual team is going to be sending you signs, but in the present moment. So be ready and be open if you can. You can. So funny how I mentioned that about Sagittarius, and then you get all these cards too. And then we have the Hangman. Interesting. And then last but not least is your intuition, the High Priestess, your higher self. Your higher self talks to you often, many times when you feel stuck, or you may feel like you're in a situation that feels impossible. Your higher self would be like, listen, we've been here before. We've been here before. We've overcome much, much more difficult things. We can overcome. I love that the world and judgment are in the middle because judgment calling you to the present moment. That means there's about to be a rebirth. Something has completed. I don't really see anything where there is like hesitation on completing something. The only thing may be the hangman, but the hangman is seeking wisdom, spiritual wisdom to use on this earthly plane, but he is swaying towards the high priestess. So it's like intuitive signs. Maybe you're waiting for these signs. Well, they're on their way, baby. They're on their way. High priestess mirroring the chariot. Like, don't put any limitations on anything. At least not this month. I feel like believe in yourself. Believe in what you're doing. Even if you're not sure, like, still, I don't know, like, I get this sense of like picturing yourself, visualizing yourself as successful or whatever it is you're looking for. Whatever is happening next, and something is happening. All right, let's bring in the light seers and let's go deeper. It's always a great sign when the sun shows up because literally anything done in the dark will come to the light. So you don't have to worry about that. Um, like if you feel like a dark cloud has been following you around, it's being lifted. Remember that we're in the year of the hermit, moving into the year of the chariot, where the world would kind of signify that. But it doesn't have to mean like next year. All right. Hello, magician. Wow. The manifester. What do you want to manifest today, Gemini? The magician teaches the fool, and the fool being right in the portal of this next chapter, though I do feel the world is a very spiritual time, probably for the rest of your life. It's like, if nothing else, like you have learned how to use energy benefit you, which is exactly, I feel like when we learn that, like energy and how energy works, and even how we can manifest, life becomes a little easier. I love that you have the magician that is right now connected to the chariot and the sun. So I would say whatever ideas you have, whatever it is you want to manifest, I feel like you have a very, very good chance. Well, I feel like you will. Now, the one thing I want to say though is sometimes, we can try to manifest one thing, but something else comes back. Um, well, first of all, let's think about when we're manifesting what vibration we're in, right? Because if we're in a higher vibration, within the universe must meet that vibration. So the sun is a very, very good sign. Um, but what I mean by something different is, well, I feel like in a magician, like you can get specific, but then be open. I think, let's say we're trying to manifest love. I think the best way of doing that is saying, what I want, what I'm looking for, is someone who is loyal, someone who compliments me, someone who's on the same vibration, right? Has similar morals to me. That's the type of thing I would say to ask the universe and then get excited for what may come back. We have the devil, card of Capricorn. The devil speaks of temptations, has his hand out like he wants me to grab his hand, but I'm not gonna. Nine of Swords next to the devil. Okay, so I have a feeling the Nine of Swords is worry, but the meaning of the card is unnecessary worry. Sitting next to the devil, well, the devil was great at casting illusions. So there could be something you're worrying about that's really of an illusionary um, energy. So, because this really is unnecessary worry, it is worry. It is a nine. So it does want completion. And the world also is saying something is coming to completion. I feel like what this is saying is a lot of you may have been tempted towards, let's just say, lower vibrational energy for whatever the reason. Let's say it's about love. Well, someone could have certainly, promised you the world, but showed you nothing. Um, but again, it's like this is the energy I don't want to carry along. And maybe that's why it's showing so that you understand that not everyone is like the people before. Judgment is saying, my darlings, you have nothing to worry about here. All right, keep going. Interesting that we start with such a strong energy as the magician. And the magician can be a trickster, but that would be in reverse. The tower. I think I am getting the idea of what's going on here. But let's see what mirrors the magician. Definitely understand the chances are you've gone through some type of a tower energy. That's disruption. That can be an ending. Sometimes we didn't ask for it, but sometimes it might be what was best for us. Look at this, the high priestess. Wow. Mirroring the magician now. That is powerful energy. That is powerful energy. I feel like your spiritual team is trying to get you ready for what's next. Remember, life keeps moving, even if we don't want it to. It keeps on moving. Time keeps on ticking, ticking, ticking into the future. But here's the thing. I feel like your spiritual team is saying, really, like, let's let the past be the past. And let's get excited for the potential of what is yet to be and what is coming in. And you and your ability to manifest. And I love that it's again connected to your intuition. So this energy in between, it must be of the past. Well, the tower would represent that. So I feel like the hangman is simply saying, I do not want a repeat of this. And maybe this is something, that you've dealt with for a while. Or let's say it's talking about love. You could have been like attracted to like the bad boy or the bad girl. I know I had been for a long time, and then paid the consequences. um, I laugh about it now because you truly can overcome it. Um, but yeah, I just feel like you simply don't want to repeat, the energy you've been in. But again, the sun makes me feel like whatever that energy was, it's being lifted for you. But you have a lot to do with that also. There was probably a red flag somewhere in here, and we probably ignored it, which is, human nature. But now it feels like, okay, now I know better. And when you know better, you do better. All right, let's keep going. I just realized we have the high priestess, um, two high priestesses connected. We have the Six of Wands. Well, hello, victory and success. And the magician feeding this energy. You know, this is like the spotlight is on you. And that's exactly what it felt like when I was pre-shuffling your deck. Like this is Gemini's time. This is a great energy. You know how I said, did I say speakers? Like, I don't know why, but I'm thinking like a TED talk. Some of you may want to do podcast. And I feel like whatever it is you want to create, this is signifying success. And really other people um admiring you for what you're doing. You're probably helping a lot in this energy, helping a lot of people. Even if you're only helping one person, that's something. But victory and success coming under the magician. And if you look at the magician, he's looking down. Look what he's doing. He's like pouring these, well, it feels like magical waters right over your success. I like that a lot. And I mean, even the sun, right? Which this person has a spotlight on him. Well, hello, sun. And the high priestess right before it. So using the energy of the magician, which I feel like means that you're listening to your intuition, you're doing something that potentially, listen, with the sun here, it could be something you've always wanted to do. Okay, well, let's keep going. We have the emperor. Hmm. First of all, card of Aries coming under Capricorn, which again is represented by the devil. I keep telling you guys that I am making my own tarot cards, and I am, but I'm just doing too many things, I think. Um, but anyways, why am I saying that? Oh, because I keep thinking, well, I've changed Capricorn's card from the devil. I'm not going to tell you to what because I want you to be excited for them. But anyways, so the emperor, the business owner, leader of the people, fantastic teacher, father figure. We have a lot of masculine energy, a little bit of feminine energy. The emperor is really someone we can look up to. And I have to say, I feel this is you. I feel like it's you. And I feel like it's your growth. You know, Male or female, by the way. And I say that because, well, we have both male and females here, but also we all carry masculine and feminine energy. And there's many times I'm in my masculine energy. But this is a great omen for like business ownership, um, being at the top of your game, even if you're just beginning. I feel like it means that you'll find success very quickly. The emperor's had a lot of experience. Doesn't have to mean like I'm old, just that I've had a lot of life experiences and I've learned how to overcome them. So the Nine of Swords in the Tower almost feels like it's kind of fading away. And I think we're just going to let it. The Emperor's looking this way, so let's see what he's looking at. Like Gemini, honestly, if there are goals that you have in mind, and maybe you just were a little like I know a lot of you want to start tarot channels, and I am trying to do more podcasts like breaking down each card for you. So that's another iron I have in the fire. I think I got up to the high priestess, so we'll continue on with that. But anyway, but I know some of you want to start like a tarot channel, but you feel like you need to know everything. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need to know everything. A lot of times, yes, I will think about the meaning of the card, but then I push that to the back of my mind and I just look at what's in front of me. The coloring, the way the person's looking, what's next to them. Okay. Anyways, this is not meant to be a tarot lesson right now. Writers, write that book. Even if you're just starting. Teachers, stand up. We have the Chariot again. First of all, I love that it's coming over the Nine of Swords because I feel like it's swooping that energy away. And then we have the Page of Wands, my little risk taker, under the Tower. You know, this is why I love the Page of Wands. Because the Page of Wands has gone through these towers. But the page gets back up again. This is part of what this page is learning. You know, like, shit's gonna happen. I can't let it keep me down too long. You know, yes, you do need time to overcome, but I feel like don't get lost in it. You know, because the page, who I often call my fool because they are a risk taker, but I feel like it's asking you to take a risk. Take a chance on you. Take a chance on me. All right. So she's like throwing that wand out in the air, and wherever it lands is where I go. Now that's a sense of adventure. To hell with the tower. Oh, okay. We got a few, but we're going to take them. We have the Nine of Wands. Completely different way of looking at one's life, or at least the last chapter versus the Nine of Swords. But we'll go back. Hello, Will. Hello, Destiny. How beautiful. The wheel, your destiny, is mirroring the sun with the magician pouring all these powerful, loving, action oriented energy down right to success. But the wheel, it's your destiny. So when I say that I feel, well, that the spotlight is going to be on you for whatever reason, many different reasons. Like, again, I was going to go through the list like writers and artists and, but whatever you want to do, this feels like it's your time. All right, we have the Queen of Swords. And I want you to notice this queen because I feel like this is you. I know you're not an air, well, you are an air sign. What am I saying? But I do feel like this is you. But I want you to notice how her sword is down. So she's not in an aggressive energy. She's looking out towards the future. And it's almost like I feel like she has this attitude of, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? I don't know why, but I feel she may be recently single. I know that's not for everyone, but it's interesting. Like just holding a card, I can feel messages through 'em, but I do feel that for a few like recently single. Now, could have been 9 months ago. Um, but again, this queen's looking towards the future, as is the emperor, by the way. So both of them are looking towards the future. We have the Two of Swords. And then we have the Hermit, card of Virgo. But it's interesting because the Hermit is mirroring the Hangman. The Hangman is seeking wisdom. While the Hermit can represent, no, I feel like what this is saying is if we take just this dark energy that's right here, it can feel like the dark night of the soul for some, like something hard, that something was hard to get through, but you did. And not only did you, but I feel like you changed the energy around you. because you went from a state of worry to a state of reflection, but you're looking back in a completely different way in the Nine of Wands. You're looking back and you're realizing, like, look at all the things that I have accomplished, and look at the things that I've overcome, the troubles, the hardships, the breakups, but I overcame them, each and every one of them. And this is why I call this person my spirit warrior, because now they know their strength. It's almost like looking back, where before I may have been looking back like, woe is me, which, listen, we all do that. Again, no judgment. But now I'm looking back at like, look at me, like, look at me. And I love that the Nine of Wands is mirroring the Six of Wands, victory and success. So, some of you, your lessons, think about the Emperor again, someone who's been through it, has overcome it, and has now become able to teach and help because of that. This is someone who definitely cares about their fellow man and fellow woman. So there's a lot of power here. And the Hermit really talks about your spirituality. This is usually when, it's when sometimes we're in the darkest moments of our life, when it's when we're seeking the light, we find the light. And oftentimes we realize that the light is within us. I feel like the Hermit's an old soul, which means you're an old soul. And even the Two of Swords, though, not great. But what it's mirroring is the Nine of Swords. So we've gone down from the 2 to the 9. Two of Swords, I feel, is a much more realistic, like, as things and opportunities start coming towards me, I feel like naturally, it can be like a little fearful, butterflies, or for a second, I'm not quite sure what to do. Normally this is someone wearing a mask and not wanting to face a truth. And that can be the case because Mother Mary and Judgment both speak about truth. Um, but I really feel like it's your evolution, is what I'm feeling. All right, so I was only going to take 10 cards, but you're the last reading, so we are going to give you as much time as needed. Judgment. Interesting. So, Judgment again. Now, Judgment is mirroring the wheel, your destiny. And look at this. I love this image. And it's mirroring the High Priestess. Two High Priestesses. But look how it's like you can connect to above. That's what she's doing. Like we are, what's that word I want to use? Like we have that silver cord that attaches our soul to our body. But you can certainly, some of you like astro travel. Interesting. Now, I also want to say with the synchronicities here, with two high priestess, that means potentially two people's intuition, two judgments, potentially two people's spiritual teams. Interesting because that's what I also felt in Sagittarius, like natural guidance to um partnership. But I want to go even beyond that. Like when I say partnership, like I meant love. But I also want to remind you that this is also a great time to collaborate. Not that you have to, but if you want to. I feel like what'll happen is you'll just find the right person. Like your spirit guides will make sure the right person who is aligned with you. Um, a discussion will come up, or let's say you don't even know the person. You'll meet them, you talk about similar goals, and then conversation like, hey, we should do something together. Chariot's right in the middle of your reading, you know, which again, Cancer's energy. This is interesting because we're seeing Cancer's energy. We have the Hermit, which is the year that we're in, the year of the Hermit. And by the way, we're getting closer and closer to 2026. So why are we in the year of the Hermit? This is the year to really reflect, like on like with a spiritual lens. Like, how do you want your next 9 years to look? Who do you want part of it? Like, if you could, being very honest with yourself. Sometimes we do want people of the past, but it does look like someone broke your heart. And I just feel like you do not want a repeat pattern of that. Well, because I feel like your vibration is lifting, then naturally what comes towards you will also be of that vibration. Keep that in mind. Definitely keep that in mind because we can manifest out of the Nine of Swords just as well as through the sun. So we can manifest through the light or through the dark, and the universe will meet it. I don't want more things to worry about. Then start living for today. That's what I feel like is being called. Like, start living for today and just be surprised, and with your human action at what's going to open for you, the opportunities. All right, let's see who's on the bottom of the deck. Two of Wands, so it feels like you're ready. Like, where do I want to go today? Reminds me of the Page of Wands. See who's under that. The Seven of Wands. You could have been dealing with something somewhat aggressive. Seven of Wands usually talks about standing your ground. Let's see what's under that. Three of Wands, optimism. Someone has taken your smile away, and your spirit guides want it back. Okay. I'm just looking at the four corners. The Magician, which is a one. A one. The High Priestess, a two. The Wheel, it's a 10. But in numerology, you would break that back down to a one. And then Judgment, 20. But you break that down to a two. 2, 2, 1, 1. The Magician, the Manifester, the High Priestess, your intuition, your connection to above. That's really what I should start saying. Your intuition is your connection to above. And I say above, but your guides are like, but we're right beside you. You don't have to look up. You can just talk. And then the wheel, well, that's your destiny. How beautiful that the sun is like part of your destiny, at least in this next chapter. And then judgment. So, call to the present moment, rebirth. And sitting next to the hermit, I feel like, boy, you're walking into this next chapter with more spirituality than you've ever had. And you take that energy and manifest. I feel like you're going to be surprised. Some of you, like, you already know. All right, let's bring in the crystal vision and let's go even deeper. I know it's hard to see the cards down here. I might move the majors. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to. So let's move the majors over here. Interesting. I just realized we got 6. And for the majority of your birthdays, it's on the 6. All right. And then let's put 2 of Wands right there. Oh, let's slide this all up. I want you to be able to see it as well as possible. Okay. That right there. Oh, I don't think I even gave him a cut. Let's give him another shuffle. Let's give him a cut. And the reason why I do this for anyone who's new is I like to introduce each new deck into the existing reading. Kind of like saying, I want to pick up where we left off. All right, so we're going to start at the beginning, but we are going to read it as a whole. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 9 major arcanas. And I'm not even talking about these over here. I'm talking about in your reading. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. We have the Queen of Wands. Action oriented. And by the way, I feel like you're all people in a reading, unless I feel it otherwise, but I'll let you know that. I definitely feel you're the Queen of Wands. Now, I do want you to trust your own intuition. Some of you may be like, no, I know who the Queen of Wands is. Well, it can be different for different people, but I'm feeling it as you. I'm feeling like you're ready for action. You're ready for some adventure. And the Queen of Wands manifesting, I guarantee you it's going to bring back, well, it's already shown us what it's bringing back, success. Okay, I'm actually going to bring these down just a hair. All right. Come on, cards, get in order. Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands jump from the bottom of the deck to now in the reading. The Nine of Wands over the Nine of Swords now. Beautiful. Goodbye, worry. Like, literally, I feel like just like that, you have a different perspective. Maybe some of you didn't realize the worry you were putting out into the universe, and you just the reading alone helped you change that energy because look how quickly it changed. By the way, all wands so far in your clarifiers. Wands are definitely action oriented, but it's about a sense of adventure. Hello, star. Your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. Coming over the tower, and then look at this, the Nine of Pentacles. Wow. Successful self-employment. So again, confirmation of what our guides were telling me before we even began the reading. Right? This is about manifesting these dreams. That's exactly what you're doing. This is you reaping the benefits of your hard work. This is you using your intuition within your business. Like, what do you want to create? What do you want to do? What do you think that you're good at, but maybe you don't know yet? Take a chance. Take a chance because I feel like, you may not have or you may not be reaping the benefits yet, but you will reap those benefits. And you are the one who's reaping the benefits in the Nine of Pentacles because you're the one who's putting in the work. But I feel like in the Nine of Pentacles, I really love what I do. Doesn't mean it's not hard work. It's like what I do. I love what I do, but it is hard work. Each reading, after a reading, it's like I need to depress and I don't know, just like clear my mind. But, anyways, beautiful, beautiful energy. Right next to the star. I feel like if you've had any doubt, there's a chance that someone else put that doubt in your mind. Now, you're dualistic, so, there can be times when you're like all gun ho, but then there can be times when fear takes over, like, what if it doesn't work out? Well, what if it does? What if it does? Because I feel like as long as you put the energy behind it, boy, and in the star card, I don't feel like it's one dream you're manifesting. And I love that the will is here. So it feels like it's meant to be. But we'll see what else comes up. But I don't feel it's just one wish. But for your money, it could not be better. Do I feel like you have to take some chances? I do. But I feel you're ready. Even if you don't feel it, and some of you may be doing things, something, or you want to do something, and really it's doing it where you learn versus like, like reading books. Like I can read books. I'm that way. Like I can read books all day long. But if I'm trying to learn something, but actually doing it is how I learned. It's the best way I learned. One of the reasons why I didn't do so great in school. All right, keep going. You have three nines, by the way. Wait a minute. One, two, three, four nines. Five nines. One, two, three, four, five. Could be a lot of completion, but that means there's a lot of new energy that's going to be available to you. You know, my wish for you right at this moment is that you trust in yourself. And again, whatever you want to manifest, you don't need to know everything because definitely feel the energy of, practice makes perfect. Hello, Ace of Pentacles. Wow. How interesting. Right above it is the Magician. The Ace of Pentacles talks about, let's just call it a seed, just coming into your world. This means it's coming into your physical life. It's not energy, it's an actual way to do something. It may be money. It's coming over the Six of Wands, victory and success. But look at you. It's like you're manifesting this money. So, yes, this can start as a seed. And what this ace needs is nurturing. But let's not forget, you have the sun. Well, that'll nurture it. Your belief in yourself, I feel like, is the best nurturer here. But you literally are manifesting, and here it is. And it's not about a pipe dream. This means this is your physical world. Judgment, again, now over the Emperor. Some of you are just meant to own your own business. Some of you are just meant to lead others. Some of you are just natural teachers. And again, I feel like you're leading through your intuition more than anything. Yes, your intelligence is all part of that. But it's not the main thing. Your intuition seems to overrule everything here. But judgment again over the Emperor, where I feel like this is you potentially beginning a business. So judgment is saying, why are we waiting? Why are we waiting? Hello, sun again, right over the chariot, which is right beside it with the major arcanas, also the chariot and the sun, the chariot and the sun. Now, first thing I think of is synchronicities. I almost feel like we're getting closer and closer to someone, but it's like your guides want you to think about you first and what it is that you want to produce now. Interesting. Produce. Some of you may be producing a show. How beautiful to have the chariot and the sun right in the middle of the spread, which to me, the middle, like whatever shows in the middle, is the main energy. So the chariot, unlimited potential. right? It does need balance, but it feels like by at this point, you found that balance. I feel like your spiritual team just wants you to believe in you. It definitely represents happier times, like happy times are just around the corner. Some of you are already feeling it. Okay, let's keep going. No wonder you're so charming and alluring this month. I mean, look at the sun all over you. Like you feel confident without cockiness. You have blessings coming in after towers. So sometimes, you know, these towers are to help your real dreams to manifest. I know it's not easy to get through the towers. And, I do feel like we can look at the towers one or two ways. Either, like, again, that tower created the Nine of Swords, but then now we have the Nine of Wands, right? So I'm looking at that tower in a completely different light. I'm seeing really, how I have grown. It doesn't matter if the person of the past, whoever created that tower, you know, whether they believe in you or not. It's about you believing in you. Your spiritual team believes in you. I believe in you. Beautiful. The Empress. And it's interesting because we have the Emperor and the Empress in the same line. Now, you want to talk about collaboration. These two, I mean, they could take a penny and make it a million. They're different, but also very alike. What I mean by that is they go about things differently, but they have the same ultimate goal in mind. Their morals align. I have a feeling if this is not someone you're going to be collaborating with, this may be an introduction. But what a beautiful introduction, because judgment would be the one who's ushering it in through the sun and the chariot's energy. So let's talk about the Empress, because Mother Mary even said, have your heart open. Well, that's what the Empress is great at, right? She's gone through these towers. By the way, you are the Empress. Um, and you are the Emperor. But as it relates to love, now I feel like these are two separate people. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. Like, at first, like, okay, how do I say this? Like, the Emperor, I feel, is relating to your ability to be a great leader, a great teacher, whatever it is you want to do. And you are using your intuition, your empathy, and your compassion. And the Empress, this is someone who has learned how to keep her heart open, even after heartache. It doesn't mean like immediately. She needs the same time that everybody else needs, but she doesn't get lost in it. This is someone who's very creative. Actually, the Emperor and the Empress are both very creative. They just go about it differently. The Emperor is someone I feel who, it almost reminds me of like Virgo and Gemini, who both share Mercury, but do go about things differently. So, anyways, the Emperor is someone who, feels comfortable with like putting plans in place, maybe making lists, that type of thing. Where the Empress is someone who goes more by the seat of her pants. She just, like, if I get an epiphany or an idea, I put it into action. But she also knows that sometimes, it is about the right time. The Empress has definitely grown from her experiences. And what I love is because we're getting closer and closer to the wheel, that this is, again, someone who she's very powerful, but not in a like in your face type of way. She's powerful because she knows who she is now. She knows her value. And it doesn't mean that she thinks she's better than anyone else, but she knows her value. This is someone who receives epiphanies like we all do, but the Empress, like, definitely trusts her intuition. She does not second guess it. And there is something about to hit her right in the head. It's an apple. It's interesting because when I see the Seven of Pentacles, I often call that your tree of life. And then I relate it to an apple tree. Like, I'm not going to pick an apple until it's ripe. Well, there's an apple about to hit you in the head. We have the feminine and the masculine with the sun in between and the chariot. I mean, wow. Okay, let's keep going. And the Empress having the star above her, like, she will manifest. We have the Two of Pentacles mirroring that Ace of Pentacles. So it's almost like you're questioning which direction you want to take this ace, because maybe there's a few different directions you can go, but it's also under that Nine of Pentacles. So I feel more it's like it's time. They call the Two of Pentacles a juggler's card. And I often feel it's more of using the logical mind. But here I feel like it might be both. Because all of a sudden I'm thinking, like, I'm juggling a lot of things right now. I have a lot of balls up in the air. Do I want to add another one? But because I feel the Empress and the Emperor are being guided, then I feel like they're going to say yes. There could be a lot of balls in the air, but maybe some of the balls in the air don't need to be. Like, one is going to stick or more. Wow. Taking some time, but we're going to have patience. We have the Seven of Cups over the wheel. And then look at this. We have the Emperor again. Now the Emperor's right over the Queen of Swords, with the Emperor right above it. You want to talk about partnership. Interesting, we have two questions back to back. Well, one I feel like is relating to money, but I don't feel like it's a question of should I or shouldn't I. I feel like it's taking this ace and deciding where you want to put it and what you want to do with it. And then we come down to the Seven of Cups, which is about choosing a cup, which means there must be a cup, right? Now, this can also talk about, by the way, it's also Cancer's energy, but this can talk about, you know, something may happen like during a very chaotic day. You may meet someone like you're rushing around, and then boom, you meet someone and it's like, they may stop you in your tracks. I mean, I kind of love that it's the Emperor again. I think I even named that reading When the Empress Meets Her Emperor. Wow, it's even more prevalent in your reading. Okay, let's keep going. Interesting. I noticed this camera he's holding. So I know, like some of you, like you're either going to be on camera or you're using a camera. We have Justice over the Two of Swords, Carta Libra. So Justice. Oh, my screen just went really dark. Um, Certainly can talk about cutting of ties, but at this point, I would feel like you would know exactly what it means. Chances are those ties have already been cut by this point. So this could talk about someone else who also is cutting ties. You know, justice, when it shows up in your reading, it's about making you whole again. That's its job. But it needs your balance. So that's what that sword is for. You know, I feel like the sword, much like our intuition, is a gift. And we have to learn when to use it and when not to use it. Queen of Swords, her sword is down. So I don't feel like it's you. So it may be someone else. Though I do want to say also, I feel for some of you, it can be an energetic cut, like the letting go of the past, let's say, and the rebalancing of you. You know, the one thing about using the sword of justice is when you do, you immediately become balanced. So if you're feeling unbalanced, then it may be calling you to use that sword. Again, whether energetically or for whatever you need it for. And then, hello, beautiful Knight of Pentacles, guardian angel energy. This night tells you I come at the right time, not before, not after. Can I help you come in sooner? Yes. Yes. It's coming over the Hermit. So I feel like what it's saying is it's connected to your spirituality. And it feels like because you're now carrying that beacon of light of the Hermit and probably using that lantern to help others. So this night does require patience, but it does promise that it will come in. And by the way, it's already brought in the Ace of Pentacles. So it's already fulfilled its promise. But there may be another one. It is mirroring your star, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. We have so many major arcanas. So life is a changing. But listen, it is changing for the better. Boy, I hope and pray that those who have certain goals in mind that haven't quite put them into action yet, hope this reading helps you trust more within yourself and take a chance. We have the Ace of Wands, passion ignited. Just look at the beautiful flowers all around it. It's coming over judgment. I feel like it's also saying your spiritual team is saying this is talking about taking action, right? But you're going to be guided. It is mirroring the Nine of Pentacles, but also the High Priestess. And then we have the Six of Pentacles. And interesting, the Seven of Pentacles. So here is your tree of life. Now, let's go back one first, because the Six of Pentacles, where justice is asking for balance. Well, in the Six of Pentacles, sometimes there can be unbalance. This is that fine art of give and take. This is someone who's empathetic and compassionate, which explains both the Emperor and the Empress. This is someone who loves to give and help, but sometimes, maybe part of the lesson is like learning who to help and who's going to take advantage of our help. Seven of Pentacles to me, again, your tree of life. So that means that everything that has happened, when I see the Seven of Pentacles in a reading, everything that's in the reading to me was meant to happen. It means it's either taught you a lot, it helped you to evolve, raise your own vibration, but it is about a seed coming to fruition. And it feels like almost like a good reward. Your compassion and your empathy is paying off. Okay. Um, Trying to think, is there any, I feel like the reading is very clear. But what I want to do is I want to go back and ask a question. So I know the Emperor and the Empress are going to be great for those who are looking for someone to collaborate with. That means with judgment right over, that your guides are going to help with this. So it's like you're just going to know whether this is someone new, or like someone's name will come to mind, or maybe already has. But I don't want you to think that you have to collaborate with another, because the Nine of Pentacles could certainly be you doing your thing. So what I want to ask, and the reason why I said all that is because I don't want to negate that. That is part of the reading. But now what I want to look at is the Emperor and the Empress with the Sun in the Chariot. And I want to know if this is relating to love at all. So, the Emperor and the Empress. Is this relating to love also? I should say also. We have the Knight of Swords. Communication. This person's on a white horse, so you can trust this communication. He's like coming over the dark clouds. Interesting. He's not part of those dark clouds. He's riding above them. All right. So, communication. And we know every knight is going to complete their mission, come hell or high water. Doesn't mean we have to accept what the knight brings. Seven of Wands. Interesting. Why the Seven of Wands? Hmm. You know what it makes me feel like? If, let's just say, I did not clear the energy of this previous tower, I fear that I may bring this energy along with me. And what I mean by that is I might automatically assume that the next person is just like the last person. I hope that's not the case because there's been a lot of energy of clearing here and really understanding. And then the, all about what's next. So that could be a lingering effect. 2 sevens. I also realize justice is underneath that. And I have to say, I feel like with justice underneath that, like those are the ties that need cut. You know, Seven of Wands is about standing your ground. But at this point, I feel like it must be more like just, I don't know if aggression is the right word, but I get this sense that some of you, you just may fear new love. And there is no, you like, if you don't want love, just say no. Though I do want to remind you your will's here, your destiny. But that doesn't mean you still have free will. You can still say no. And, let's say you're the one who's carrying the Seven of Wands and you still feel like, maybe it's still a little anger or what have you. Then, yes, you may want to take a moment and again reevaluate, look at things through a spiritual lens instead of our earthly mind. You know what I mean? Because we can certainly overthink. And then Mercury being our ruler, well, Mercury is going into retrograde. The wheel again. Now it's shown in reverse, but to be honest, I'm not really reading reversals. And I really don't feel like, well, if I felt it was meant to be in reverse, I'd leave it in reverse, but I'm not feeling that. And I'm saying that because the wheel is right here too. And by the way, now I'm realizing we do have the Seven of Cups over the wheel and the Seven of Wands now connected to the wheel. So there may just be, part of me feels like this person that's coming into your life, whether you know him, you don't know him, you probably have known him in previous lives. I don't know how you couldn't. So to me, especially when it's judgment ushering it in your spiritual team, to me, it would be a soulmate energy. So, you've known him for eternity. You just may not have known him in this lifetime yet. Um, but I do get this sense of previous energy potentially can affect what I feel because I do feel like this is love or the potential of love, the beginning of it, let's say. And then the wheel shows back up again, almost like reminding us this is, and this may be something that's predestined. And that may be why the wheel showed up again. And that may be why we're seeing judgment so many times. Like these may be seeds that were planted before you came into this lifetime. And this may be its divine timing. But again, we're born with amnesia, so we don't really know that until we do connect. And then when we connect, it's pretty easy to tell that there's something different about you compared to others. I mean, we do have more than one soulmate, but when the Empress and the Emperor show, I feel like that is of pretty high vibration. Look at this, the 10 of Cups. Well, hello, House of Love, harmony, laughter, joy. You know, the sun here twice is all about playfulness. What did I write? I can't find it. Oh, the moment is ripe for meaningful connections. The moment is ripe. And then Jupiter blessing you with uplifting events and fateful encounters. That's what the wheel is. So, I already felt that it was also love. Um, and I guess I do it more for you so that you can see it. And it really is beautiful energy. But I feel like it is the human part of us that puts a little bit of hesitation, let's say, on it. Now, do I feel like if I'm a little hesitant, this person will just run off? I really don't. I really don't, because I feel like you have so much spiritual guidance here that it's almost like they know, like it's already known that chances are you or they might get a little fearful. So there's some way somehow they're going to ease your mind. But I do want to say, just be a little careful, because we can certainly judge someone new by someone old. And I don't know. In a way, it's not fair. It's our right. But it's like someone judging you before they even know you based on someone they were just with, right? Of a negative nature. And now they think that you're going to be that way, but you're not. So it may be both ways. But look at what this is showing us, the Ten of Cups. Connected to the wheel. So not only is it showing beautiful success within your money, if you're willing to take chances, trust in yourself. Some of you collaborate. Listen, I feel like interest will be sparked. I feel like if there's something that you're destined to do, somehow, some way, it'll come across you, whether it be like through the internet, um, or a conversation. You hear someone talking about what they're doing, and you may think to yourself, like, I could be pretty good at that. Well, trust that. Trust that. Because this is really, what this looks like to me is the evolution of Gemini and how much you have grown, even after the fact. Don't let past negative energy or people stop you from living your dreams, because this is all about your dreams, but it's you manifesting them through your energy. So think about that. Again, I can manifest through the Nine of Swords, and I'll be damned, it just brings me back more things to worry about. Or I can manifest through all is possible, and I'll be damned, all is possible. So let's let that part be. But let's go ahead and bring out the clarifying love situations. Give them a shuffle. Give them a cut. All right. In a fog, fear, obligation, or guilt makes you stay. Get clarity. Fear, obligation, or guilt makes you stay. Get clarity. Laid to rest. Let go of lingering disputes and make peace. Make peace. All right, last but not least, let's bring out the romance angels because I know, this isn't just talking about love. This is talking about love. And I think one of the things you'll realize is the shared interest, the same ultimate goals. Again, doesn't mean we go about everything exactly the same way. Matching morals, their empathy, their compassion, you should notice very quickly. I feel like this would definitely be someone who has their, let's just say, their shit together. Trust. This situation is calling for you to have faith. Let's just see if anything else wants to come out. All right. Finances and career. Financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. And then flirt. Flirt, flirt, flirt. Don't forget about your alluring, charming energy. Extend your light-hearted energy to others. So, finances and career, I do feel like that is important because I feel like you're building a life. Um, you're building something that I feel like can be successful for the rest of your life. And it could potentially even be something that's handed down, like a business where my kids start working at it, and I leave this world and they continue and then their kids, it may be something like that. And that's just one element. But as it relates to love, trust, it's asking for you to have faith. So, let down your guards, trust your intuition, trust your spiritual team, be proactive this month, and watch the world just open for you. This feels like this might be one of your best months. Like this might be what I would call pinnacle. Like a month that I go back to time and time again. I may be saying, somebody may be saying, when did you guys meet? We met in July of 2025. That is our anniversary date. When you first start your business, July 2025. So I'm going to let that be. Gemini, it looks great. It really, really looks great. And the only energy that mm, doesn't look great is more energetic. So we can take care of that. We have power over that. Just really in the way that we're thinking. All is possible. That's the way I feel like your guides want you to think. Like, not only all is possible, but then taking those action steps. You have the Ace of Pentacles, so that gives you the way. You have the inspiration through the Ace of Pentacles, but it's also action oriented. And then the wheel twice. Well, that makes sense, right? Because not only do I feel like what you're doing in the world feels like part of what your soul wanted to do, but I also feel like this love. And this must be, let's remember, with the Knight of Pentacles who says, I come at the right time. Just means they want to make sure you're ready. They want to make sure the other person is ready. That both people are as balanced as they can be. Again, if we're looking for perfection, we're never going to find it. So let's look for like-mindedness, especially if I have worked on myself. This is a great lesson in the ability to manifest through energy and then taking action steps. The ability to manifest, that never goes away. And, you can become an expert at it. Okay. I'm going to let that be. What a reading. I loved it. I loved almost every bit of it. And, the hard part was at the very beginning, and the rest was like the blossoming of Gemini. Couldn't be prouder of you. Like, I could not be prouder, as so are your guides. I want you to understand that they're not judging you. You can say no to everything, and it's not like, you know, you're being judged in a way. I mean, I feel like eventually we're judged, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. Okay, I'm still talking. Let's just remember that the Emperor and the Empress had the opportunity of eventually being in that 10 of Cups. That is love. That is harmony. That is joy. That is laughter. That is playfulness. That is flirting. That is all of it. And I feel like the Ten of Pentacles is showing because it's saying it's the potential for the rest of your life. I love you guys. Thank you. I'll see you next time at our table. Happy July. Bye bye, guys.